Welcome back, it's me. Or welcome back, it's Leah. Cringy. Let's do a thought experiment. What do you remember most about your last job? Or matter of fact, basically any job that you've had in the past. If you are like me and most human beings, what you remember most isn't necessarily the content of the work that you were doing, but mostly how you felt physically, emotionally, what challenges you went through, and if at all you had any positive experiences, especially with your coworkers. When you get older and you look back on your life, you're not going to be remembering the exact numbers on your Excel spreadsheet, but you are going to remember the feeling of being in your cubicle or your home office if you're lucky enough, feeling lonely and stressed and unhappy. You might also remember your positive experiences. I want to invite you to explore 3 questions with me. How do you approach conflict? How does a robot or wage slave typically behave? And how do you personally approach your work ethic? When you are placed in an unfair situation or you are being pushed beyond your limit, are you immediately hostile, moody, and always expecting the worst? Do you immediately expect that anything you do will be futile and you have no power over the situation? Do you automatically assume that, just like all of the other times, you will not be heard or respected this time, and you are going to end up doing things and feeling in ways that you don't want to? Next, when you picture a slave back in the olden days in Egypt and American history, what comes to mind? For me personally, what I see is someone who is working, forcing themselves to do things that they don't want to do out of fear of repercussions, feeling, facial expression, body language of fear of attempting to hide, quiet, alone, unhappy, and isolated. When I think of a robot, I think of no emotion, no breaks, no leniency, or taking it easy when there is a damaged part. Just monotonous, quiet performance. My last question, how do you approach your work ethic? Do you constantly try too hard to keep your job because you feel that's what's necessary, or to try to impress and go above and beyond? Does your body and mind feel tense? And do you live out of the norm of self-sacrifice, of being exhausted and still having and needing to find more to squeeze out of yourself? Or are you easygoing? Are you happy? And are you trying your least? There are 2 people that I have come across in my adult life that have radically changed ideas and perceptions that I have in my mind. One was an older gentleman who really saw me struggling, and he put it plain and obvious to me. Stop thinking that this is my company. Stop trying to fix every problem and have everything be neat and organized and solve everything on my own. Stop being overly responsible. This is not my company. Whatever problems they have are not for me to fix as an employee. And no matter what I do, if I meet my goals, I will be pushed to do more. When I go above and beyond, there will be no appreciation. There will be no significant raise. Do the bare minimum. And when I'm asked to do more, do 5% more and say I'm trying so hard. And that is all. Person number 2, who has radically changed my views, was a young woman. Always happy, always smiling, obnoxiously so. Many people found her to be quite annoying, quite loud. And instead I chose to really observe what was happening. Why was she one of the only people who ever seemed to be happy when no one else was? Why was she one of the only people choosing to play music, choosing to sing out loud, regardless of anyone else's opinion of that? And I noticed that all of the people who complained about her, who said, oh, this is annoying, she's loud, she's boisterous, they weren't happy themselves. They were complaining about her, but at the same time, they weren't any better. And it dawned on me, yes, this was probably due to the fact that she is still a bit immature, but at the same time, maybe she's smarter than the rest of us. So I have come across a lot of content online talking about how your coworkers are not your friends. And in general, there's a lot of negative energy that we all collectively share, because This is our genuine human response into being put in situations of feeling uncomfortable, of being pushed and extorted and being taken advantage of. But I want to offer you the opinion of doing something radically different. If right now you can't quit your job, you are having a hard time starting your own thing, being self-employed, running your own business, and you are still depending on this 9-to-5 income, why don't we approach things a little differently? When you approach conflict, when your superiors are coming at you with really unreasonable expectations and you are being either physically or mentally pushed into a corner, why not, instead of immediately expecting the worst and being hostile and having your guard up, why don't you try to identify and see that this person deep down underneath of their position and obligation is another human being. As heartless as they are, as unreasonable, they are still a human being. What I mean is, if someone likes you, they are, over time, much more likely to become tolerant of you and to start treating you a different way. I have seen this happen in my own personal life. People who are extremely hostile, who are even suggesting illegal things and trying to oppress and push down and try to take advantage of, when they know that over time the way that you react is calm, collected, and they feel more pleasant being around you, eventually their defenses of attempting to try to push you will slow down. Number two, if they know that no matter how much they push you, you will not really budge very much, they will eventually realize they have to give up. As long as you are doing the bare minimum and you are not doing anything that they can catch you on, like stealing time in a very obvious way, violating any policies, they are stuck with you. And over time, they can also get tired of coming at you and pushing you to do the most. See, right now, all you see is the problem that's in front of you, which is, oh my God, I'm doing this workload and they expect double. If you only ever budge 5, maybe 10%, think about it. In a few months, in a year of pushing you over and over and over again, they will eventually see, oh my God, we can't get rid of this person. They will not budge. I am tired of saying the same thing over and over again until I get blue in the face and being met with, okay, yes ma'am, yes sir, I'll try my best. They won't get riled up. There won't be any trigger to fuel their argumentation and dissatisfaction. If they are met with neutrality, eventually they can get tired too. Think about how you approach conflict. The more that this person can see you as a human being, the more that they can associate you with no conflict, with even positive feelings, the better it can go for you in the long term. And then what is your reaction to being placed in these unfair circumstances? Do you get quiet because now you're in a bad mood and you try to place yourself in a corner where nobody will bother you and none of these people are your friends and you just want to be left alone? It's fine to do that temporarily as a natural human response to stress, but how long do you stay that way? Are you there forever now? Being social is the best rebellion against the system for many different reasons. Reason number one, sharing issues with others that are in your same position will help you identify in what ways you are being treated unfairly, maybe even illegally. This helps you protect yourself and fight back against corruption. If you openly share your salary with other people that are in a similar position to you, you will find out if you are being treated unfairly, number one. Number two, you will find out what is your earning potential if you remain in this company, in this position, over a longer period of time. And that will be a much more concrete way of finding out than trying to search Google for information that may not even be accurate. Next, you will find out what policies are being used against you, what is being kept from you. For example, in a previous company, I was able to figure out how and why and what it is that I need to look out for so that I can better protect myself? And what is the best way to approach communication? For example, writing an email and getting a response from these issues, that's in writing, versus something that is a personal one-on-one communication that maybe I can't possibly record or concretely identify. It's going to be harder to protect myself, but getting something in writing makes it a lot easier. How would I know these things? I could have thought of it, but a much easier way is that we all collectively protect ourselves in these ways and come up with strategies that we can all implement together. Now, a different way that I'm really trying to get across, instead of isolating yourself in a corner in response to unfair treatment, why don't we try together something radically different that wouldn't be in your human nature to naturally resort to, which is instead drop all of your resentments and negative feelings and go to the completely opposite end. Why? A natural human need is to be connected to other people. Instead of projecting onto the future, onto your free time, all of these problems that you are digesting in your mind over and over again and ruminating on, and then carrying this bad mood over into your personal time, and then coming back to work with that chip on your shoulder and choosing to behave as the victim that they want you to be because they want to keep you quiet, antisocial, they want you to put your head down and get to work. Why don't you do the radical opposite? Now, I completely understand the sentiment of your coworkers are not your friends. Yes, but why can't they be your acquaintances? See, you can use this work environment in a way as a playground. See, we are conditioned from a very early age to behave socially in a manner that will eventually become acceptable as a working member of society, right? Why don't we use that? This isn't just your job. Why can't this be like the playground at school, where you had no personal issues to bring in because you were just a child and you socialized in the moment with the people directly in front of you? Your coworkers were your friends. But you weren't talking about your issues with your spouse and how your kid's such and such. You don't have to share about the reasons why you cry alone at night. And by saying this, I don't mean to dismiss anything that you're personally going through. I just want to invite you into acting like a new person in this place and opening yourself up to the possibility of, why can't you have inside jokes with these people? Why can't you be happy and share funny things and personal interests in the moment with whoever you can tolerate? Now, I understand there are some difficult people that it's difficult to get along with. I get that. But what about everyone else? Actively choose to be here in the present moment and see the good in people. Even if they are going to stab you in the back, if it's you versus them, they need to self-preserve. But besides that, take it impersonally. Every other interaction can be a positive one. You can have jokes. You can be lighthearted. You will leave this workplace feeling happier when you are choosing to see the positive aspects. You're not going to remember how your supervisor was yelling at you and sending you 10 emails about how you forgot to fill out a form and now they want to write you up for that. You're going to be thinking, I had a really nice time at lunch. I am laughing about this joke that myself and this other person had, and how I had a good time, and how these 3 or 4 people appreciate me and are willing to go out of their way a little bit as much as I'm willing to go out of my way to help them. About how we have a pleasant time regardless of this having felt in the past like it wasn't a pleasant place. Even if it feels superficial, even if you know that deep down they're not your real friends and they're not going to be invited to your wedding and maybe you're not going to know them for the rest of your life. But what is life but a temporary thing that ends one day anyway? Be in the moment and don't suppress who you are. How you choose to behave is what you are going to attract. Actively choose to stop looking at these problems. Force yourself to focus on the good. Tell yourself, yes, this bothered me and this is bad, but maybe I'll mention it in one sentence to my coworker and say, wow, that was ridiculous. And then let it go. Don't choose to interact with these people by just using them as someone who's going to listen to your problems, and then you're going to be forced to listen to their problems. Choose instead to see what positive things you can talk about. If you behave like you are always unhappy and you hate where you are, that's how you're going to come across to others. That resentment is going to be felt, and then you will attract more of that. But instead, if you are an easygoing, happy person, you're going to attract more of that energy, and people are going to migrate toward you. People are going to see you as like, hey, you know what? This dude is not that bad. Or this girl seems to always have a smile on her face. I actually don't mind seeing her. Maybe I don't want to leave a mess for her. Maybe I don't want to cause problems, because I really enjoy the fact that in this miserable fucking place, there is one nice person. And number 3, reciprocate what is given to you by the company. Not by these people that you have to see every day, but by the policies and the expectations that you need to meet. Fight back through reciprocation. If they are trying to use you and squeeze you for the most, you try to use them and squeeze them for the most. Don't think that this is your company and everything is your responsibility. Think like an employee. You are easily replaced, so you are not really investing anything. If you can be easily replaced and you are just a temporary part, why would you go above and beyond? If they want to pay you such that your time is what equals money rather than your results or your output is what equals money, then start acting like it. All you really need to do is be there, deep down, underneath it all, and rebel in every moment, because it's actually impossible to buy someone's time. That time is your existence. It always has been, it always will be. You will always be you in these situations. Even if you physically have to exist in that place, your body that is the same at home and the same in a social setting is the exact same that walks into this building, or the exact same that has to log on to this computer from your home office. Do less. Lay down. Stop trying. If you feel tense, if you feel stressed, if you feel like you're doing too much, you can rebel in every moment of your existence. Even if someone is literally looking over your shoulder while you're like typing or writing a document, you are still the one holding the pen. Your fingers are still the ones typing on the keyboard or whatever it is that you do. Even if you're being watched, even if you are actively being put under pressure, don't forget your power. You control your body. No one else can. In every moment, honor your feelings. Even if you have to physically be in a place you don't want to be, which is this job, even if you physically have to perform, the way that you do it, the pace at which you move is yours to control. And your feelings are a direct communication from your body and your subconscious mind. If you feel like you don't want to do something, if you feel like your body is tense, if you feel any kind of pain, don't oppress yourself. Don't shove it down because this is what you have to do the job. Let go. Literally, stop tensing your body. Take it easier. Do the least. And if the least is still too much, then do a little bit less. If your time equals money, then you just have to be there. But the way in which you exist is your choice. It's not easy, especially if you are sleep deprived and you are going home feeling extremely stressed. Oftentimes that's because you have done too much. Start slowly cutting back, little by little. Do everything within your power and make it a conscious choice that from now on, if everything this company is trying to do is to squeeze more out of me, then what I am trying to do is to take back as much for myself. Anyway, I hope I have given you enough of a starting point. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.